Hey, what's up, everybody? Just waiting on a brother to get here. And the brother we're waiting on is Brother Sterling. So I'm gonna check in a few minutes and make sure he got the proper make sure he got the proper oh, there he is. Okay, let me get him in. Okay, he's in here. Hey, what's up, brother? I just wanted to show y'all this real quick. This is that volleyball I was talking about, how they play it with everything but their hands. Because, you know, Brazil. It's all about football here. Alright. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I could share stuff real quick. Alright. Alright, so you know what time it is when that music starts. Alright, so what's up, brothers and sisters? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And let me greet everybody real quick. Geboorten hardu budag, ola oi to the bang, buses los, bonjour, mes amis. Kedu, bawani konnichiwa, ihani ama, sani bonani, jumbo habaragani, assalamu alaikum, shalom, kamusta ka, kamusta po kayo, and talafa lava soy food to my brother out in the Polynesian Islands. Alright. So I've been reporting on and I got some backup here. Because you got a brother here that's also a biologist. And brother Sperling, I was telling him that I got stuck in a lab. I stayed there, ran a lab and stuff, a medical lab. I did research also, but before he was a lawyer, you were a biologist, right?
Yeah, that's my first love.
All right, and so remember, y'all, I have always taught symbiotic relationships, and how important they are. And so all my data that I was gathering from the dating sites, and I told you I was going to do it. I was going to look into dating sites, and I was going to see what's up, right? I could afford them, and I know how to get my money back because my bank is really, really good if there's some funny business, right? So I could take the risk and report on what's going on. And I was listening to Brother Sperling's video last night, and when I checked my email today, there was something that he said that was really, 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 man, it was deep. It was worse than deep. It was like the truth, but the truth in a way that we all didn't have the big picture of until this morning when I looked at my email, and when I looked at why I was having so much trouble on these sites, deciding to choose what I wanted. Now, here's the thing. I'm a single brother, and so when I said I was going to look at these sites, two things I wasn't looking for. I wasn't looking for a booty call. I wasn't, because you can get that already. I'm in Brazil, y'all. Y'all know this. Y'all seen half the females I was messing with. Okay, y'all seen them. They nice and stuff. So if I wanted the temporary thing, okay. But I was looking specifically, like what countries have long-term relationships? How can you get into those long-term relationships, right? And that was the objective that I was talking to you brothers about. And that's what we was trying to find out, using the scientific method. Now, the problem, there was a big problem, and we'll go through that. But the reason why I called this brother, I contacted him. All right. This wasn't this brother that say, hey, let me be on your show. I need notoriety. No, I contacted him because I listened to a lot of things that a lot of brothers says, and this is about the only. He's a little more polite than I am, but we see the same stuff, right? He's raising sons. Y'all know I raised my nieces. All right, the hell I went through doing that. I would never recommend brothers ever raising children that's not theirs. And we're talking family, y'all. And the setup that, okay, well, I'm gonna leave that alone. But in all of this, right, I started to see how restricted things really are, but I still didn't grasp it. But then as I started to think about this man's conversation, and I'm giving this long introduction because I'm gonna let him have the floor, because I asked him here because I wanted him to talk about what he was talking about the purpose. And one of the things that just really made me just look at the things that are going on today was when he says that the purpose, which is something I had said, but I like the way he said it. He said that the purpose for the man is to work hard and die for everybody, to paraphrase. But I'm paraphrasing because I got him here because I wanted him to just talk to us about what he was that yesterday?
I believe so, yeah. I believe it was yesterday.
So, and there weren't that many, I don't know how many people were there, but there weren't enough to hear that. Because the stuff that I found out today, y'all need to check him out if he want to give that information out on his Facebook when he, and all right, my Cash App and PayPal me, because y'all know what I do here in Brazil. And we're working on me getting enough to bring my instruments here to donate to the NGO. However, put your information also in the description box if you can. You can, right?
Yeah, I just put Dennis Sperling Unfiltered. You can find
No. I mean your Cash App and all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, sure, great. I'll do that. Be more than happy to do that.
Okay. Okay. Let me greet everybody real quick that's here already. What's up, Captain Marvel, Daniel Porter, 180, One Loyal King, Wayne King, Simplified USMC vet, Captain Marvel, Your Messiah, Antonio Johnson. All right, what's up to all of y'all? And when Texas Marine get in here, sympathize to him also. A lot of us are military. You know, that's when I did my damage. But that's what made me. I'll just say this real quick. If the when I went into the army, I was in such a way to get out of the streets. Remember, I was in an orphanage, back with my mom, then out in the streets at 16. I didn't graduate high school, but I went to college and got into the military with no GED or high school diploma. You could do that back then. All you had to do was be smart enough to take their test. I would have been anything the military wanted. I want y'all to understand this. All right, remember, I believe that there's been a divine hand on my life. I would have been anything that the military wanted. Anything, bruh. But they made me a lab tech. And every time I wanted to go do something else to get more rank, because, you know, I just ended up a sergeant and stuff. I was going to go be an officer and all that stuff. I was going to go to school to be a doctor. And it just wasn't my calling, because I would, instead of doing what I'm doing now, taking the risk in the favelas and it's not really a risk anymore. Everybody just know me. The lady here at the hotel, she's laughing at everybody because I hop on a moto taxi. I walk all through the favela with my big old cowboy hat on, and I do not get shot. And they know I don't belong there, right? So all these dudes that try to clown me say, "Oh, this is one of them men that are boys because they're calling out the crap that the females are doing." Yeah, I would like to take them on. Some of the brothers have gone at least up to the favela, and some of the brothers have visited the NGO. Okay, so them dudes wouldn't even do that. They just sit behind a computer. But I wanted to introduce this guy because y'all seeing part of what I had to say, because I put the email that I got up on my Facebook. But put what you know from reading that email with what this brother is about to say, put it together. So, hey, the floor is all yours.
Well, I'd like to first thank you for having me, Reluctant Nabi. I appreciate the work, and I'm always good to see you, because it just shows Black men living in other places and other cities and other countries, and it gives brothers hope. You know, that hope sometimes is the thing that keeps them going in the darkest hour. And that hope that you provide for them, you know, them seeing a person that looks like them and speaks like them, is from where they're from. It makes life a little bit more varied. It allows them to take that next step forward, even though they're walking into the dark. So as brothers like yourself to give brothers hope overseas, it allows seeing you overseas and seeing you living your life and enjoying life. It makes it easier for brothers like myself here, because remember, we got to deal with these hopeless brothers out here who are unsatisfied and unhappy. So the thing that I try to do by putting myself out there, and it's not been easy, speaking and advocating on behalf of Black men and Black boys here in the United States, is because I want them to have hope. I want them to know there's other options for them. But last night, what I did was I had a conversation with my community of followers on Dennis Sperling Unfiltered. And I basically asked them the question, what's the rush? Why the rush? We are told as men generally, but Black men specifically, that our life doesn't get started until we get married. Our life doesn't get started until we have children. We're not mature until we become fathers and husbands. And at the point where you do get married, it's happy wife, happy life. In other words, you're designed, your whole purpose in being is to reproduce, have children, and keep your wife happy, irrespective of what your life goals were, irrespective of what it is that you thought you were supposed to do, irrespective of what it is God wanted you to do. Now, I get it. Having children, being a father, noble concept. Being a husband, great concept. I think it's a wonderful thing. I don't have a problem with it. But what I'm saying is, fellas, what's the rush? And here's why. Here's the backdrop. The backdrop is Men are supposed to, under the social contract that we have with the government, to do what? We're supposed to protect, provide for not only our family, but if the government calls us up, what do we need to do? If the government calls us up, we got to go sign up to the nearest military branch, put on a green suit, and get out there and fight and shoot and kill people. This is what they expect men to do. So in effect, the government expects us to sacrifice our lives. The government expects us to take these hard, burdensome jobs like construction, sewage, and all these other things, farming, lumber, and get out there. And if we die, oh well, we die. That's just what men are supposed to do. And you get told that you're a good man if you do it. In other words, what I'm saying is we are created, we are born to die as men. We are used as batteries, as men. This is what we do. This is the traditional role that men have played. We build up the countries, we build up the nations, we protect the nations, and we die. Now, the crazy thing about that is throughout the history of man, we've been happily and willing and able to do those things. But see, here's the thing. We receive certain benefits from the nation, from the country, from our people, from our families, our communities for doing that. We received respect, we received admiration. We were the patriarchs of the family, of the house. We got to say so. We were rewarded for our willingness to sacrifice. Now that contract that we had, which is something that we're talking about on my page right now, Dennis Sperling Unfiltered, that contract has been breached. That contract has been breached by the lovely ladies of our community, just like it's been breached by the lovely ladies of the dominant society. Now, the thing unique about being an African American man is it's been breached by the ladies, but our sisters, our lovely ladies, they don't have, they go so far as to talk bad about us in public. They go so far as to alienate us from our children. They go so, and the dominant society supports them on that. But other groups of people, i.e. our Hispanic brothers and sisters, yeah, they breached the contract too, but they didn't alienate their fathers. They didn't alienate their husbands. They haven't alienated the group. The dominant society, they breached the contract too, but they still are with their families. Their families are still intact. So as Black American men, I believe the whole point I was trying to point out with, what's the point of rushing down the aisle to get married if you know that the social contract which gave rise to the need to get married has been breached? You're going to get the short end of the stick. You're going to be used like a battery and then discarded. And there is nothing in it from you, i.e. you don't get you get kids. But you don't get the respect, you don't get the reverence you're used to, you don't get any of that. And so I brought that up. Basically, you're born to die, fellas. You're born to die. Society doesn't respect you like it should. They don't respect your sacrifice. And so what's the rush in getting married? Not saying you shouldn't get married. I'm just saying that there's no rush to do it. Instead, I suggest that you build yourself up. I suggest that you become the best man that you can be. You wait until your late 30s and early 40s, and then you determine whether or not you actually want to get married, if you or want to have children. This is a decision you can make. Here's the other thing. Your timeline is not the same timeline as a typical woman. Women base their timeline and their needs to get married on their ability to reproduce. A woman from the age of 18 to 35, pretty much, she can have pretty much any man she wants, especially the closer she is or the younger she is. By the time she gets 25, things start waning off. By the time she gets 30, they start waning off a little bit more. She's not getting the attention she used to get at 22, 23, 24. And then by the time she gets 35, for the most part, it all just falls off. On the other hand, men, at the point where they become 35, they reach 35, the age of 35, they begin to ascend. They begin to ascend in social status. Their ability to earn money goes up. It should. In fact, the statistics show that men between the ages of 45 and 64 make the most money. They have the highest earning potential here in the United States. So my thing is, fellas, and considering the fact that most of you guys, if you live a relatively healthy life, you watch your diet, you're going to live to be about 80 years old. What's the rush? Why do you rush out to get married at 20, 25 years old, 30 years old, even 35 when you're going to get a raw deal? It's that the raw deal being you're going to be used and abused and mistreated. You're not going to receive the things you're supposed to get. And then, heaven forbid, you get a divorce, then you get started and disregarded and divorced and have gone back to the wolves. That's generally where I was coming from last night, Reluctant Nabi. And that would be my opening there on that. If you have any questions about that, or the members of your chat room have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Okay, so while we got, all right, so I wanted him to lead off with that because now that comes into this. There has been an exodus, and I have been preaching about this since 2000 and maybe 13. All right, when I really started getting serious and start preaching about that we need to exit the community. All right. And it was because of things that I was seeing that was happening. It was even changes. Even from 2016 to now, as I speak to the guys that do the Uber, when I go down on the beach and talk with the men, and I talked with them today, and there was a, look, I'm telling you, the worst treatment that I get in Brazil always come from black women. I'm just saying, so far. Now, the one that I was talking to, the one, let's not say talking to, but I was kind of, with. I haven't seen her. Well, she fits the mold. All right, haven't seen her in a while. But what happened was with the Wonder Woman movie, a lot of stuff changed, and it's like all the women forget that Wonder Woman loved Steve Trevor. Okay, they was like, he didn't die. They probably would end up, but all the Marvel people had strong women in their lives. The men were still the lead, with the exception of Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. And the men didn't even lead that because they bowed down to women at the end. And it was a black dude who wrote that movie. All right, but this is a simp, Ta-Nehisi Coates, a sellout. All right, the Black Panther, who by the comic book standard, arguably the best person. All right, he's bowing down to be. This is a dude that's Susan Reed Richards' wife, the Invisible Woman, almost kicked it with, but he didn't go there. If you read the comics, but they made him they weakened him, right? And then they weakened every last man by having them bow down to women. And black people wrote that. Pepper Potts didn't bow down to Tony Stark. They weren't going to have that. And Wonder Woman, Steve Trevor did not bow down to Wonder Woman. As a matter of fact, she was the strongest, but he was still the head. Y'all figure that out. So when you got dudes running from this kind of mentality, this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Brainwashing. All right. They started to see that the brothers that are running are the brothers like Brother Sperling, right? Myself. We're talking brain drain just by the two of us alone. Even though we have different things. Me, I pick up languages easily. So by the time I go to Colombia, I will know how to speak Spanish. The army dropped me into Germany, and I learned to speak German so well that I lived, as we say, on the economy. I had a German landlord. I shopped in Deutsch. I spoke Deutsch. All right, this is my thing. All right, I'm a good teacher. All right, so it's a brain drain. I feel there is no worth for me to stay in the United States, but I'm not the only one there. There's a lot of people from England, like the brother from England. So there's a lot of people running away not from the country, but the women in the country. You see
And
what I'm saying?
I think that's because the social contract, again, has been breached, not just in the United States, but in many of the other Western countries, because the women have the lovely ladies have determined they don't actually need men anymore, because what is the comforts of Western culture bring about a certain ease and a certain delirium, we'll call it, that makes women believe, or and really technology, between technology and the conveniences associated with Western world, they don't necessarily need men. So the roles are now shifting. So what are they doing? They're showing us that they don't need us. But see, here's what's happening, and this is a conversation I'm having on my page, where we're referring to the social contract that exists between black men and black women in America. And we're basically hashing out the terms. We're going to talk about traditionalism, parental role, interracial relationships, and some of the other hot topics that are going to be renegotiated. But in previewing that, yeah, there are men who say, well, you know what, if you don't need me, I'm gonna go somewhere where I'm needed. If you're not gonna treat me right, you don't like what I'm bringing to the table, let me go take my wares, take what I'm offering to other women who do need it, where I can get what I'm supposed to get for this contract, because I want to maintain the social contract, i.e., I want to be the patriarch, I want to be the leader of the family, and in exchange, I'm willing to sacrifice, pay for provision, pay for children, pay for, take care of the woman of the house, um, and be responsible for anything that needs to be taken care of, and be responsible for any failures that happen in that family situation, in that patriarchal family situation. And
Hold on
it's
for a minute.
black men's right to do that.
His name is Dennis Sperling. All right, go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. That's pretty
Okay,
much it.
so let me say this, and I like the fact, because now I don't look like I'm that bizarre dude. I
Mhm.
kept telling them that that marriage. Well, see, I'm a theologist also.
Mhm.
Was a quote unquote preacher, a pastor.
Right.
All right, but anyway, went to seminary for a little bit. So there was a thing called hermeneutics that I taught a lot of the brothers, or showed a lot of brothers um, on that's on my channel. So that's where they are. So we talked about the Flavians and how they wrote the New Testament. All
Mhm.
right, we went into all of those things. We went into why certain books are missing and this, that, and the other. And so my premise was we need to go back to originally who we were before we ran across Caucasian, but we need to get rid of all the stuff and greed that caused us to be deceived by the Caucasians, right? Because a lot of this ain't their fault wholly. You know what I mean? They
Well,
trying to survive.
I look at what I do is I look at the fall of Western civilization and Chancellor Williams. I also look at books like The Daughters of Trade. And,
Uh-huh.
what that shows me is that oftentimes when the dominant society of Europeans or even Arabs came in and invaded Africa, women, once the men were conquered, the women submitted to those men who were available. You read the Bible, and you understand that there's stories in there which show that women are not race loyal. And so, and that's one of those terms of the social contract that's been breached, severely breached. And and so that's something that we need to renegotiate. So
Uh-huh.
I don't think it would matter if we removed, let's say there was just black people on this planet, we would still have we would still have a lot of the problems that we have now, because it's a human thing. This is how women are, and what we have to do is become stronger men who are more willing to say no, men who are willing to stand their ground,
Exactly.
speak the truth, and be honest. I believe wholeheartedly in God and the Most High's
Mhm.
teachings. And so the thing that God wants us to do the most is speak the truth. And in
Right.
loving someone, if you truly love yourself and you love the woman in front of you, you speak the truth. This is not right. What you're doing is wrong. you're not treating me right, and I'm willing to walk away and be by myself if need be, if you're not going
Hello.
to treat me right. Now, the thing is, what people like yourself are demonstrating, and even myself to a certain point, is that not only I can walk away, but I don't have to be alone. I can go to South America, I can go to
Mm-hmm.
Colombia, I can go to Brazil, I can go to the Caribbean, I can date women from the Dominican Republic, from many of these other places where other Africans landed, and I can even go and return to the motherland. And if I don't want a woman of African descent or African woman, I can go to Eastern Europe, I can go to Asia, all those
Mm-hmm.
different countries, and I can get a woman who will fulfill her terms, her side, her obligations in the social contract that we have. I.e., I want to be the man of the house. I want to be the patriarch. I want to be responsible. In exchange for that, I will pay for, take care of, and provide for and protect our children and our offspring. That's these men's right if they want. You see, that's my
Now, I
go ahead.
like the fact that you keep saying a social contract. So,
Mhm.
so the other thing we went into was the origin of the acronym, because it started as an acronym. The FU, and you can add the other two letters, and but it stood for fornication under consent of king. It was the first license, and it was designed to extort money from the regular people and put it in the coffers of, well, the lords or the governors of certain spaces, right? So that's where we get the FU, and it literally meant what it means. If you know, FUC literally means what it meant then, but it meant under the consent of the king. It's a license, right? So that's where the license came from. But it went away for a while, and we didn't have it for a while, and then it comes up again in like the 1800s. The engagement ring came up in 1960, because the Beers wanted people to buy diamonds. All right. What I am saying is that a marriage license is a contract not between the man and the woman, but the man in the state and the woman in the state. That's why there's so once you get that
Oh,
license,
right.
once you get that license, the
Yeah.
state is now in control of your relationship, not God. All right. And so that's why I was trying to tell everybody we need to get back to that. But then here's the thing, where are you going to find a woman? See, the women love the license because in 5 years they know they're going to have half your stuff, then do it again, have half somebody else's stuff. All right, so they love the license. The men, we have to not be fools, and we have to come up with different types of contracts to show that we're serious. But the state needs not be involved in our relationships. So we
Yeah.
did that. So we
I,
have
I
to figure
think
that out.
I made a point last night to mention to the men who follow. I say these women, and I was serious, but I kind of said it in jest. These women belong to the state. That's why
There it is. There, yeah, yeah, you did say that. Yep, 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 yep,
that's why
yep.
they make you sign a contract when you decide
Talk
to
about
purchase.
that. That's yeah, that hit.
Yeah,
Talk about what you was talking about that.
yeah.
Break that down, brother. Break it down. Break it down. Break it down. No,
well,
y'all listen to
yeah.
y'all listen.
Well, I mean, well, so think about it. When you get married, you're signed. If you love someone, you can just live together and you guys can live happily ever after. But when you sign that contract, now you're obligated to take care of that woman and every child she reproduces. And if you decide that you want to opt out of that responsibility, you're still in many states responsible for taking care of that woman, i.e., through alimony. In some states like California, you're obligated to take care of her for the rest of rest of her life through lifetime alimony. Here's another crazy thing. You have children by her, you're still obligated to pay for those children through the duration of the time in which they are minors, i.e. all the way up to their 18. And they're going to make sure you are responsible for her, period. She belongs to the state. The women belong to the state. You are either renting or have a long-term lease, or you're renting a buy or you're purchasing. But bottom line is that contract is given to you by the state. And so they're going to take care of it. That's their property. That's the way they see it. They need little taxpayers to come out of those women to keep the state going, to keep the country moving. They need little taxpayers. They need little military men, congressmen. They need construction workers, and they need more people to come in and be breeders so you can keep uh, uh, the state going. This is what they're looking for. It's in their interest to take care of this woman. And here's another thing: the reason they want to siphon off your money and give it to the woman is because they know that they know that, hey, women will spend the money, but men will typically save. Of course, that's not across the board, but generally she'll take your money and reintroduce that money back into the economy, whereas men have a propensity to save the money and be a little bit stingy, which doesn't help the economy grow. So the state's in it too. They have an interest in making sure the ladies get the money. And any one of these people that comes in and says otherwise, they're just lying to you. There's a whole policy behind using the child support system to extract money from men and then getting money from the federal government to match those funds. It's a whole industry set up to do that. But I'm telling you guys, man, look, it's a storm. It's a crap storm. No need to buy into that thing too early on in life. Enjoy your life. Figure out where life is good for you. Find peace of mind and happiness. And when you get to that point, if you decide you want to enter into a serious relationship, hopefully after 35, 40 years old, then that's fine. But explore the world, see what the world has to offer before you get bogged down in this mess. You've been lied to. They've told you that you need to rush out, go out, get a job, pay your bills, find a wife, have some kids, pay your taxes, and
Two-car, what is it? The house, picket fence, and a car.
The American dream, and for a lot of men, it turned into a nightmare. All I'm doing is saying, fellas, just take your time. I wish that I knew now. I wish that I knew at 10 years old, 5 years old, 15 years old, what I know now. I wish the culture was different and it had told us, hey, man, you're free. You are free to go do whatever you want to do. You go live your life. You go see what the world has to offer before you decide to get bogged down. Don't believe this indoctrination, which says that, oh, yeah, you got to do this. If you don't do this, you're not a real man. If you don't have children, children by the time you're 40, you're weird, you're strange. Those are lies. You've been lied to. You as a man, you can reproduce all the way up until your final day. Okay, you will probably live to be 80 years old. So having a son or daughter, a bunch of children at 40 is fine. They'll be grown and out the house by 18. And if you can get them to 25, they should very well be able to take care of themselves. That puts you at about 65. That puts you at about what? 65 years old. You still got 2 more years of work to do. So
look at all dudes having babies now at 70.
Yeah. So just no rush.
But what I was going to say this also, and I'm going to tell y'all again that nowhere in the Bible, we're talking Bible now, nowhere in the Bible will you find a marriage ceremony. Nowhere in the Bible will you find a marriage contract in a way, a license. Nowhere in the Bible does the state have permission to determine who gets put together, how you come together, except we kept saying it, the RBWs belong to the state. They don't belong to us. It's just our turn. We kept saying that. Now, when you see them preachers open up that book, we have a ceremony book. This is one of the things I was preaching against when I was doing it. I thought I could fix stuff from the inside. Nope, I was wrong, right? I thought people actually wanted to know the truth. No, that's the thing. People are comfortable in the lies that they live, all right? Because they're a part of this club. And if you don't want to be a part of the club, they will shut you out, right? There's a little book, a ceremony book, and people are reading out of that. I told you about Mithra. I told you about the sacrifice to the bull. That's where communion comes from. Okay? We talked about all of that stuff. All these things are symbiotic in relationship where it is designed to carry us further and further away spiritually, emotionally, and everything else from where the Most High wanted us to be in His commandments. every time they give us something, it is literally breaking our spiritual natural self. All right. Every time, all ceremonies, all church ceremonies take away your spiritual natural self. They tell you you're drinking the blood and body of this Caucasian dude when they got the ceremony from people that was doing that for a bull called the Mithras. Okay, and it takes away from us is because they get us in the habit of doing a lot of things that we don't know about. The marriage thing, we said we had the saying in the army that soldiers know more about their military contract than they know about the marriage license. I want y'all to let that sink. The women know more about the marriage license than the men do, but the soldiers know more about their military contract than men know about the marriage license and all the stuff that goes with that. All right. And so when all this stuff,
if I could add on to that,
go
in
ahead.
my books, Rules to Live By, How to Maintain Peace of Mind and Happiness in a Conflicted World, Volume 2, I point out, and if you don't mind the plug, you can get those books.
Go ahead, plug it, dude. You wrote it.
But I point out.
Let me stop you real quick. Anything, brother, you want to add here? I mean, this is a channel for brothers, right?
Sure.
I wouldn't be helping as many people out as I do had it not been for brothers. If something happens to me, somebody is going to know, hey, he was shot, you know, and they'll be able to tell people it's very dangerous where I go. Okay.
Right.
And it won't be on purpose, you know, so share your stuff. We share here.
Great. Well, I pointed out in my books in the discussion and that marriage was a religious or a biblical institution, and the state derived a benefit from using marriage and incorporating the tenets of marriage and bringing it into and forming it into a state-sponsored institution, i.e., the point is to bring two people together, two taxpayers together, two people together so that they form a more stable tax base, basically, a more stable family, a more stable place to raise children. And so because of that, the state derived benefit from marriage. So what do? They sanction it. Now, biblical marriage and the marriages that are sanctioned by the state, especially as of 2021, are totally different. If you look at the Bible, a man can marry a woman, he can marry multiple women. A man can marry women of some of the women were underage, as we consider. Some of the women were, but in no place could a man marry another man. No place was that sanctioned. You see, and even in modern times, here in these countries, like Western countries, men can't marry multiple women. In the Bible, men could marry multiple women. And I'm not a polygamist. I'm just pointing out that there are some differences.
No, it's a fact. We went over Deuteronomy 21 and 15. So it is a commandment in there. It is a commandment.
What I'm saying is the term marriage as used by the law and the states in the United States is different than what was intended in the Holy Bible. Again, Holy Bible says what? You can have a marriage between a man and one woman, and a marriage between a man and as many women as he can handle for the most part. The law that we have in most states here in the United States, it's one man and one other person, or one woman and one other person. They could even marry men of men, women of women. I
or think a tree. A woman married a tree.
You can have a man marry a tree, a woman marry a tree. These marriages are biblical marriages. The reason that the state even cares about marriage is because ideally it creates more stability in each one of the houses. It creates two people to be responsible for what? Raising children, paying taxes, and that benefits the state. So in other words, the reason that the state took the concept or the institution of marriage and incorporated and made it a state-sponsored institution is because it benefited the state. And so what I'm trying to tell you guys is marriage is not necessarily here to benefit you. per se, but it does benefit the state. That's why the state sanctions it. If the state determined that there was a type of marriage that would also benefit the state, they would sanction it, irrespective of if it goes against the rules of the Holy Bible. That's why, as far as the state is concerned, the state is concerned, not those of us who, who are subject to the rules of the Most High God. They can sanction something like gay marriage or whatever, because the state doesn't.
It's the state.
As long as
it's their program.
Right. As long as you're paying.
Anybody that gets the license, because the state runs it, God didn't sanction it, the state did. Now that gets me into this.
And if you will, and I'll just say this before, polygamy, the reason why, and I explain this in my books, the reason why polygamy isn't sanctioned by the states of the United States is because that takes viable females out of the stream of the marriage contract. In other words, you got one guy who's wealthy and he's legally married to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 women, then that means that one guy is taking 9 women, which could go to other men, off the market. Now, if he's the primary breadwinner, well, darn it, what happens to him if he dies? But now you got 9 women with children for a man that is no longer here. And we can assume that those children and those women are going to become a burden of the state. So that's risky. So what do is they say, no, we're going to limit marriage to one man, one woman, or, as it is right now, whatever. But we're going to limit it to one man, one woman. And each one of you guys is responsible. That way we got 10 people in charge of these 10 women in case something bad happens and whatever children you produce.
Well, there's another thing to that too.
But polygamy is allowed in the Bible. Not that I support polygamy, but I'm just showing the state doesn't reap a benefit, or it's some drawbacks for some form of marriage.
It's another drawback to that too.
Right. Yeah.
So the other drawback is take that one man that can take care of them women, all right, and he's a culture that come from enslaved people or black people. So that is our custom. One man, a bunch of women, that the man that can take care of them. All right, so say he trains up the child in a way that it should go, right? Well, he's not going to train the child to follow the state. Now, he has 10 wives and he's making an army. Oh, he's making an army. He has a small army. They had problems with just a little bit of people. You see what I'm saying? In the 60s. So imagine that men were able to teach children at a mass to be self-sufficient. Imagine that he was able to, especially if he's an Afro-melanated man, imagine if he, like in scripture, was able to pass on wealth to all the sons of those wives. The state would not benefit.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? The state would not benefit. So that gets us to this other part that I was talking about, is what I am starting to discover is now they are, as you so eloquently pointed out, the state wants us to take care of the monster that they have created, right? But with all the men getting passports and rolling out, all right, another thing happened. The state said, okay, well, Houston, we have a problem. These men are rolling out, and so now they're making laws, and a lot of the businesses are complicit in these laws that they are making. And they are starting to make laws, rules, and guidelines to bring men back on the plantation.
Oh, wow.
Brother Sperling had so eloquently pointed out that the state want us to take care of the problem that they created, right? And so a lot of us are saying, not no, but hell no, okay? And so we're looking to other places, right? And so now we get into where I said I was going to tell y'all about these sites for when you go to other countries so that you can get a heads up before you get there. All right, like Brazil, Cupid. Now I was kind of late on that. I only tried that when I got here and only 4 years after. So I've already been having relationships and developed the language and stuff like that. And anytime you develop the language, it's easy. And so the sites should help you find somebody when language is a barrier into the point where you can learn it, right? So the Brazil Cupid, it was okay, but then there are some things I started to find out about that. And that is a lot of the women that's on there are controlled by some man. And so you might not find a real relationship. All right. So I'm thinking that the states come up with different laws that if you want to give up your citizenship is now $20,000. It used to be $2,000, but now it's $20,000. Joe Biden made it $20,000 for you to give up your citizenship because a lot of Caucasian men have been leaving the United States and they've been giving up their citizenship and becoming citizens of other countries. Oh, and by the way, they're taking their monies and resources with them, right? And so the brothers, they start leaving. We weren't giving up our citizenship, but we just said we're going to find wives from someone that's not in the United States. Or we just want to bound chicka wow wow in the places that we go. So imagine my surprise as I told you, I was going to start examining these dating sites because I know that some dudes like want a heads up in order to get their foot in the door. And so I told you I was going to do this and critique this, right? This was my problem. This was my problem right here, as you see. All right. Now, y'all know I haven't been on a dating site. I don't know what I know the one where you swipe back and forth. I forgot the name of that. All right. I'm not into all that swiping back and forth. That's useless. All right. But on this, okay, Brother Sperling has to get ready for his show. He's setting up another show. All right.
It's been great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here, man. This has been a very interesting conversation. I'm gonna check it out later
thanks,
on.
Bro.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I want you to see this and comment on what you think about this before you roll. All right.
Okay,
so
let's see what you got.
Okay. So if you see up here, so go to Plenty of Fish, and I noticed that for men we couldn't set an age bracket. But the women as old as 99 can talk to a dude way younger than 99, but a man cannot talk to a younger woman. All right, like the woman we would normally be attracted to and take off the market. And they're trying to force us to be with babies' mamas, right? So I asked them, I said, why am I blocked out of expanding the age range in which I can find a woman? All right, because 35 is the limit. I'm thinking about, hey, if I find somebody, I want to have children. So 35 is the extreme upper limit for that, right? I know by living in Brazil, all my women that I've talked to have been in their 20s, with the exception of one. All right. And so, all right, here's what they wrote back. Sorry for the confusions. Members cannot contact or search others who are outside of their relative age bracket. So they set a relative age bracket for men, not for women. For more information, check out our help center. Thanks for reaching out, Darwin. Plenty of Fish member.
Yeah, I'll say this before I leave. So basically what they're doing is they're forcing you to give them incorrect information, i.e. lie about your age in order for you to meet women who you would actually want to be with. That's basically what they're actually to do. Or that's what they're forcing you to do, or not use the service at all. It's crazy. But the fact that they're willing to do that, it shows you that feminism is worldwide. So you guys if you want a good woman, you better act now. You better start traveling around. You better hit Brazil. You better hit Eastern Europe. better hit Asia. You better get out there now. You better go to the Dominican Republic. You better get it while the getting is good, because it looks like they're trying to lock this thing down because they know you, but they're always going to keep tabs on what African American men are doing. They're always watching. Even in Brazil, they're starting to crack down on it. And so, good luck, fellas. The world is yours. There's only so much they can do. I wish you fellas well. Again, this is Dennis Sperling. You can find me at Dennis Sperling at the Filter. Again, great. It's always great. Reluctant Nabi, I'm a big fan of yours. I think you were probably one of the first people I would listen to, maybe maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. So great job. I appreciate what you do, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for stopping by and spitting the knowledge, brother. Okay. So as he prepares to do what he's going to do, I wanted to just go over this. So they don't want the brothers talking to this anymore. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. It's even deeper than this, right? For brothers that's looking to talk to women outside of their race, meaning you want to talk to somebody Morano, you want to talk to somebody from Colombia, you want to talk to somebody from Asia, they're trying to stop that. I went on one interracial dating, all right, and I'm gonna show you some things. So on Plenty of Fish, so they don't want you talking to this, but here's how you get around it. Brothers, you get around this by getting your passport, leaving the United States, learning enough Spanish to have a conversation. Okay? So, if you learn enough Spanish to have a conversation, all right, if you learn enough Spanish to have a conversation, you'll be good. All right? Learn enough Spanish to have a conversation. All right? They don't want you talking to this. This is what they want you to get a hold of. All right? I want you, and all by get an understanding. All right? Brothers, they don't want you talking to what you want. They want to force you into talking to what the feminists want. All right? Brothers are looking for virgins. Brothers are looking for women that are suitable to be wives, those that are looking for wives. All right? A lot of these women, brother, let me harp on this real quick. Believe it or not, people keep leaving out virgins. I have people in my family that told me just because she a virgin, that doesn't mean nothing. And that's because the woman saying that is a 304. And she knows she can't compete with a woman that kept herself a virgin. She can't compete with it. So the only way for her to compete with that is to tell you that her doing what's right don't mean nothing, that it is equal to her. Oh, the same way that they compete with brothers saying that that men and women are the same. They can't reach up to where we're at, so they try to drag us down to where they are. All right? So I want y'all to understand this, brothers. All right? I want y'all to understand this. So on this is some interesting stuff, right? So on the interracial dating site, it says interracial dating, and what you find is a bunch of black women from Africa. So if they're on interracial dating, they're not looking for an Afro brother. All right, because you're on interracial dating. All right, these are all Colombian women. All right. So they don't want us going to Colombia. They don't want us going to Brazil. Or at least they don't want them, these women here, enticing us to go to Colombia and Brazil. All right. Now, there's a problem with this, right? Because in Colombia, they have the lowest divorce rate. One of the lowest. They're number 3. Is India, Chile, Colombia. Mexico is number 5. All right. And so you can go to Mexico and find you a woman. Just start brushing up on that Spanish. But you can go to Mexico, find you a woman. All right. What they don't want you to do is talk to them beforehand. They try to pigeonhole you into a bunch of women from Ghana, which turns out to be scams. And they know it's a scam thing coming out of Ghana. All right. And so basically, again, they want you to holler at this, but they don't want you looking at this. This is off limits. If you show this to people and be like, they're trying their hardest to keep us. These are women in Colombia, and I believe Medellin. This is America, y'all. This is America. This is what they're trying to put us with. You have a lot of women, 59, contacting you, right? What I'm going to do with a 59-year-old? Even if I was 59, what am I going to do with a 59-year-old? All right. So we need to boycott Plenty of Fish or any other dating site that don't do what their site indicates. If it's interracial dating, the darkest thing I better see on there is a Latina. But of course, they could be a Haitian Latina. All right, this is it. And even these females right here, they saved all this stuff. They're looking for thugs. They have on the thug uniform, and they're presenting all they have. That's all they have to offer. They have nothing to offer a good man that is able to support them and a child and raise the child up to be strong individual. No, they don't have that to offer. And not only do they not have it, but they're not going to give it to you anyway. They'll tell you, I don't want no more kids, because they don't have children, they have kids. All right? So brothers, I want y'all to understand. People will probably turn around and say, oh, he's critical of big people. All right. Y'all seen the last female that I was trying to talk to here. All right. And the thing is, I'm looking for femininity. All right. And I am going to run my house. Right? Now, as soon as the Philippines opened up, there was a lady who has a friend there. She introduced me to her, and things might kick off for brothers. You got the Ida people, all right? Things might kick off for brothers because the Philippines are just as dark as we are. Maybe, well, not when I say in general. No, you have the Ida people, which is just as dark as I am. You have the regular Filipina, which looks Latina. All right. And so the thing about the Filipinas is there is a lot of women there that are virgins. And a friend of mine, one of the brothers here who talks to one of the women there, well, she set me up with this woman that is literally a virgin. All right. So I want y'all to understand this. If you go to Southeast Asia, there is a chance that you may find a virgin in Southeast Asia. What they don't want you to do is start having conversations with these women and leaving the United States without actually leaving the United States. Some of you might know what I mean. So you start seeing these women, and you start having these nice conversations with these women, right? And you're like, oh man, the Cuban women are very nice, this, that, and the other. All right, then you start doing research. All right, here's the thing. A lot of the brothers, I'm gonna break this down real quick. A lot of the brothers that are living in Colombia or living in the Philippines or living in other countries went there, and once they experienced the femininity of those women there, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. Okay? Not too many brothers are staying in Brazil right now. People are going to the DR. All right? People are going to the DR, staying in the DR. They are going to Colombia, staying in Colombia. They are going to Southeast Asia, staying in Southeast Asia. Some brothers are going to some countries in Africa. And it's not Ghana. All right? It's not Nigeria. But they're looking at Tanzania, Madagascar. All right, they're looking at those countries. And the thing is that when I start looking at these emails and start looking at these, what these websites were doing, I started to figure some stuff out. And one of the things that I started to figure out is they're trying to pigeonhole the Afro man in particular, because you're on interracial Cupid, right? That means if you're an Afro man, you should see nothing but Caucasian women looking for, or Asian women, or whatever, somebody that's not of African descent. Well, everybody is of African descent, but somebody that is not of modern African descent looking for you, right? And so when a whole bunch of women from Africa are looking at you, you have to know that the algorithms of that dating site, all right, is doing that by design, especially when you keep going in and resetting the parameters. Okay? And so Chris, hey, what's up, Chris? And what's up, Wayne King? So one of the things, hey, Texas Marine, Semper Fi, brother, Semper Fi. One of the thing is that America, it keeps pissing the good, decent men off. And we're tired of what this garbage have become. It's run by women. But all right, understand who's running America. Hillary is running America through Donna Brazile and all of them, and Nancy Pelosi. The House of Representatives are running America, and Biden is the puppet. All right? And the rest of the people are engaged in such wickedness that good men don't want to be bothered with it. So men like me would prefer to, not be bothered with them. Okay? Men like me would prefer to live somewhere else and live in other countries, whether it's 6 months at a time or whatever, but live in other countries rather than live in a cesspool that has become the United States. And the government isn't the only problem. The problem is many other people. And you look on Facebook and all of this stuff, you see how they come at brothers. You got these single baby mama raised dudes coming at Afro men worse than the triple K. They're worse than them. The only thing worse than them dudes is they mamas that raised them, the BWs. All right. So when we were talking about things, I wanted y'all to understand that's a lawyer that was talking. I told you that the marriage license was a contract. And when I told you it was between the man and the state and the woman and the state, I understood that. I had a woman pastor come up to me, got into a marriage with a dude that was not really divorced. She had a marriage license, and I had to tell her, well, you're in a hard place because you agreed with the state, and you belong to the state, he belongs to the state. Y'all don't belong to God. Now, I wanted to tell her she don't belong to God anyway because she thinks she's a pastor over men. All right, but she was in a world of hurt. She got into something for church political reasons, and it bit her in the behind. All right, so what's going on now is that a lot of people are trying to program and pigeonhole men into a real plantation. They are trying to make the United States a real plantation whereby men cannot leave. The women will have the freedom to leave and go as they please. When you go back to Plenty of Fish, you can set the age. You can set the age all the way up to 99. You just can't set it lower. So if you are a man that got his stuff together and waited, they want really young dudes that don't know crap. Understand this, with women that can use them. All right? And I want y'all to understand, with women that can use them and the men that know what's going on and know how to raise a family, they don't want that. They want these dating sites, all of this stuff. And all of these things are run by the same party, by the same people with the same mentality. All right? Understand this, by the alphabet group. The alphabet group are these people that are looking through your things and fact checking everything. They're lying. When you look at a fact checker, we all know that they're liars. CNN, liars. Not only are they liars, they're criminally negligent. Not even negligent. They criminally framed somebody on purpose for a political reason. But they'll never see any time in jail, the people that ordered that, and they will never see any time in jail because these people are turning the United States into a prison culture where they want to imprison the minds or imprison the movements of men. They are afraid that we are all leaving at the same time. And instead of putting them women in check with appropriate laws, they're not going to do that anyway. It's because they're high off of the power from all of this wickedness. All this wickedness that is going on in the United States are making those in power now just giddy and high and drunk on this wickedness. All right, I want y'all to understand this. They are high and drunk on the wickedness. All right, so brothers, I want y'all to understand that if you want better right now, you need to get your passport, or you need to stand together. And when you see brothers trying to tear other brothers down, like that dude that's real popular with females, that everything is the man's fault because he's making all that money off of that. Everybody want to see him go up against Kevin Samuels. What's that dude? I can't even remember his name. All right. So when you see suckers like that, you need to let him have an audience of females, but let him understand that he has no respect amongst men. And who gives a F with the females thing, because they'll chew him up and spit him out. If he ever change one thing and wake up and Derek Jackson, that's him. If he ever wakes up and actually get some courage and a heart for the truth and say anything that's the truth, then women will eat him alive. Why? Because he never stood for the truth, and it's hard for him to turn back now and say like, well, the truth is. All right, I want y'all to understand this. All right, Derek Jackson. Hey, what's up, Nesman99? Derek Jackson, they got his number. He can never tell the truth. And he will never have respect from real men. And that's because he's been lying. And you know what we call people that's been lying? And he's been lying on men for popularity's sake. The stats are out there, and he will talk contrary to the stats. That's what I mean by lying. The stats are out there, stuff from the New York Times. The stats are out there about the wickedness of the females, and still, but he makes money off of them. So, hey, that's his gig, and it's a gig to him. All right. So basically, brothers, that's where we're at, right? We are in a place right now where we kept saying we have no friends, right? Now we have a brother that's a lawyer that tell you that all these things that they're getting you to sign is a legal contract so that you can take care of the government's business. The government trained these women to be against you. All right, trained them, rewarded them. And this is how they trained them. They just rewarded them. Hey, if you go contrary to the Afro man, we will reward you. All right? Think about that. They're talking about giving black women women in general that has a child, $3,400 per child. That's not going to ever want to make them want to be family oriented. $3,400 a child. All right. So yeah, there's a lot of wickedness going on here. All right. And sooner or later, the country will be bankrupt. Because you can't keep giving money away to people that are not productive. And you can't expect the men who were productive to remain productive, only to have every morsel of happiness stripped from him. That just can't go well. All right? And all that I get an understanding. So, all right, I'm going to mention this because I didn't mention it. I mentioned Brother Sperling's Cash App and stuff, but my Cash App and my PayPal me is in the description box. If you don't have it, don't. If you don't have funds, don't give. Don't talk no sacrificial giving. Funk that. All right, you don't give what you don't have. All right, you take care of yourself and family first. Period. But if you care to help me and this channel and what we do, my Cash App and everything will, and my PayPal me is in the description box. All right. So this is the problem. This is what I would recommend. If you want to know what's going on, watch the videos of brothers that's traveling. All right, they'll give you the ins and outs. All right, when you come down to Brazil, all you got to do is walk down certain streets downtown, and brothers will show you the way to handle business if you feel like you need to handle some business. All right, so that's one thing. The other thing, if you want long-term relationships, let's just start looking at countries as a whole. All right, because we have to play the laws of probability. Like I said yesterday, what is the probability that if you meet this woman, she'll divorce you behind as soon as that 5th year hits and take half your stuff? Well, it's highly likely in Brazil, it's highly likely in the United States. Brazil is better as girlfriends because they're less dangerous for you. They ain't gonna have Pookie come and they might rob you though, take your watches and stuff, but they won't take your whole house. All right, so you gotta look to countries start researching countries that have low divorce rate. If you research countries that have low divorce rates, this is because the women understand how to cater to men. And think about it, Mexico, right next door, they're number 5. I forget, Bolivia, I think, is number 4. So the lowest divorce rate is India. The next is Chile. Then, it's Argentina. Then Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico. Colombia and Argentina is kind of next to each other, and they're kind of close to Mexico. All right, these are highly, deeply Catholic religions. Hey, what's up, brother? All right, these are highly, deeply Catholic religions in these places, right? And so these women have been taught by grandmothers and mothers to be good wives. The men have been taught to work or make an income. So if you're already working and making an income, then I recommend Colombia, Mexico for wives. If you want to just mill around and go and check out some females and petty theft, right? Now, if you just give them money, so some of them will come over to get with you and they'll take your stuff, right? And just petty stuff. All right, some of them will get with you because they want to be taken care of. All right, some they are just coming to get you, so you got to be careful in certain countries. Brazil is not one of those type of countries. All right, if you keep your eye on your stuff, lock it up. When you can't trust somebody right away, all right, Morocco is very low. All right, and so basically, when you're looking at this, these are our options to get around this stuff. Because when you look at the dating sites, what Brother Sperling said about the government, all right, them raising, and this is astronomical, $20,000 to give up your citizenship. That's what it costs you in the United States. That's because you're a slave. Think about it. When you have to pay money to say you don't want to be a citizen, you're not a citizen, you're a slave. All right, I keep trying to tell y'all, we are slaves in the United States, and the United States is a big plantation. If you do service in the military, you get to leave a little sooner than other people, providing you can retire. Brothers, I'm telling you, there's some SH going on. And you need to watch your P's and Q's. And we need to be very careful. All right? And we need to act with a sense of urgency. But most of all, we need to kick these dating sites. Tinder, that's the site I was trying to think of. We need to kick all these things to the curb. All right? Because basically, like I said, if you just out there just doing your thing, you don't even need a dating site just to do your thing. The bound chicken wow wow. All right, but if you're going to look for wives, it's best to go to the countries, because we've done research and you got a lot of brothers speaking to these things that are going on. All right, so and I'm gonna let you know what's up too. Porque yo hablo español también. All right, I've been practicing. All right, so by the time I get to Colombia and the Spanish-speaking places, yep, idiom, what idiom? All right, so brothers, thank you all for stopping by. Anybody have anything else to say? All right. I'd like to thank Brother Sperling for showing up, and for you brothers that's in here that showed up, thanks for showing up. I will let you know when I'll do the next one of these, because I have to hook up differently, because the Wi-Fi is not that good to run this. Oh man, yes, it's real late here. Okay, and I got to get ready to head, get some rest so that I can go and head for the NGO tomorrow and teach my class. All right. So, brothers, with that said, I'm out. Peace, love, and soul. If you want to help me out in what I do, again, my PayPal, me, and Cash App is in the description box. I will holler at y'all a little later. And brothers, just understand what's really going on. All right, I'm out.